Good morning. The gentle rain pitter-patters on the roof on this summer's day. Trees are in full bloom, full green, grass is growing. Candle and incense burning. Do inanimate objects preach the Dharma? And if they do, can you hear the Dharma that they preach? Or perhaps I should say, can you see the Dharma that they preach? And have they always preached the Dharma? How about during the last glacial period? Did inanimate objects preach the Dharma then? How about in the time of dinosaurs? Did inanimate objects preach the Dharma then? If a tree falls in the forest and there is nobody there to hear it, does it make a sound? And what is the sound that it makes? Surely it is the sound of one hand. In the wonderful movie, or film I should say, Dogen, the life of Zen master Dogen. Dogen is asked, what is the true Dharma? And he says, the sound of the cuckoo in the spring, flowers in the summer, chilly winds in the autumn, and snow-covered fields in the winter. Maybe I have the first two wrong. Maybe it's flowers in the spring and the sound of the cuckoo in the summer. This is the true Dharma. Do inanimate objects preach the Dharma even if nobody hears it or nobody sees it? Soon, I will be an inanimate object, and I will preach the Dharma that inanimate objects preach. Will you hear it? Or will you see it? And is it any different to the Dharma that I preach today? What is the Dharma that inanimate objects preach? Not even a sage can hear it. Who can hear it? Only inanimate objects can hear it. To hear the Dharma that inanimate objects preach. Perhaps you have to become an inanimate object. But to make a start at it, let's answer the question, what is the Dharma that inanimate objects preach? Let's start with the word suchness. And then let's take a phrase from Dogen who says, if you want to attain suchness, you should practice suchness without delay. Returning again and again to the present. Being in this body, in this room. This body preaches the Dharma, but I don't always hear it. I don't always see it. And yet, I see it. I see him. I see her everywhere. In the bones of dinosaurs, in the rocks of the field, in the buildings that we construct, in the tiles and pebbles around the temple, around the streets. In the stars, in the gates, in you and me. The Dharma preached by not preaching is the greatest Dharma. Ages come and ages go. Epochs come and epochs go. Dramas come and dramas go. The thread that runs through them all is the true Dharma. We have begun chanting the Diamond Sutra as an online event. Friday mornings and Sunday nighttime. Just a paragraph or half a paragraph reads, "Hearing such a teaching as this, Bhagavan, it is not remarkable that I should trust and believe it. But in the future, Bhagavan, in the final epoch, in the final period, in the final 500 years of the Dharma ending age, Bhagavan, those beings who grasp this Dharma teaching and memorize it, recite it, master it, and explain it in detail, they shall be most remarkably blessed. Moreover, Bhagavan, they shall not create the perception of a self, nor shall they create the perception of a being, the perception of a life, or the perception of a soul. They shall create neither a perception nor no perception. And why not? Bhagavan, the perception of a self is no perception. And the perception of a being, a life, or a soul is also no perception. And why not? Because the Buddhas and Bhagavans are free of all perceptions. So we've started chanting the Diamond Sutra. and it coincides with this final talk on the 6 perfections. The perfection of wisdom. The Diamond Sutra and the Heart Sutra that we chant are part of the body of literature known as the perfection of wisdom. But the perfection of wisdom is also a bodhisattva. And so at the end of our chanting, I chant the hymn to the perfection of wisdom. The perfection or the fulfillment of wisdom. The completion of wisdom. In ancient times, ancient Greece, and possibly in other cultures too, wisdom was a valued virtue. To be wise and usually it's seen as coming with age, but I think there are many people who have age without wisdom. So one of the 4 cardinal virtues of ancient Greece and ancient Rome. To be wise. It's different than being a scientist, which is to know things. To be wise is a certain nuanced understanding of situations. To be able to consider many possibilities, many interpretations. But the perfection or the fulfillment of wisdom is seeing the true Dharma in terms of Buddhism. There is the understanding of the teaching. There is the application of the teaching. And then there is the realization of the teaching, where you see or hear what it was getting at, what it was pointing you towards. This is the fulfillment or the perfection of wisdom. I find it interesting in this paragraph that I read out from the Diamond Sutra that the Buddhist writers were already entertaining the thought of the last 500 years, the Dharma ending age. They understand or understood that the time could well come when the Dharma, the body of teaching, disappears. Everything is, after all, impermanent. And the epoch of Dharma teaching, still perhaps in its infancy, 2,500 years old, may well come to an end. We don't know when, but at some point the teaching may perish. But at least the Dharma preached by inanimate objects will still be there. And we need not really concern ourselves with, but who will hear it? Does anybody hear it today? Homage to the perfection of wisdom, the lovely, the holy. The perfection of wisdom gives light. Unstained, the entire world cannot stain her. She is a source of light, and from everyone in the triple world she removes darkness. Most excellent are her works. She brings light so that all fear and distress may be forsaken, and disperses the gloom and darkness of delusion. She herself is an organ of vision. She has a clear knowledge of the own being of all dharmas, for she does not stray away from it. The perfection of wisdom of the Buddhas sets in motion the wheel of Dharma. Thank you all very much.